way of that trailing linebacker. Play fake, bad eyes by Sorensen, and now you're stuck behind Gronk. 70% of this pass game last night, this is from Hembo, 70% of their pass game was off play action pass. I watched the first 3 quarters again this morning. I counted 2 drop back passes from Tom Brady. They were the first 2 dropbacks of the game. After that, it was 6 and 7 man protection. We're going to keep number 12 clean, and no one's going to get near him, and he's going to do whatever he wants with the football. And that was the case. And so I credit Byron Leftwich and BA because I was hard on them. The greatest thing they did was realize we aren't who we've been in the past, but we are this play-action passing football team. And if we keep Tom Brady upright, he'll do whatever he wants with the football.
You know, Dominique, how many times over the last 20 years have we said, a Bill Belichick coached New England Patriots team, he doesn't worry about what they look like in September. It's all about being at your best at the end. And we always gave all that credit to the coach. And I'm not taking anything away from Belichick. But boy, this feels very similar, doesn't it? Like they took about 2 months to figure out what they needed to be. And then, Dominique, once they got it, they were unstoppable.
And also similar to that Patriots thing, I think Dan and I were talking about this morning, is that they change from week to week. And maybe they haven't changed from week to week this season, but they certainly changed from week to week in the playoffs. Their scheme offensively has been dynamic, and that was part of it. I think that the Chiefs came in expecting one thing, which is why they were comfortable playing man coverage and doing blitzing, and then got something completely different, something that the Bucs haven't been kind of majoring in all season, that they've increased as the season's gone along. So I think that was part of it, and that's a lot. We do get a lot of credit to coaches in normal circumstances, but in this circumstance, it feels like we're giving a lot of credit to Tom Brady, which he deserves, but I also think Byron Leftwich is part of that, having faith in what they can do and understanding how to teach it in a way that guys can pick up very quickly.
RC, I also want to ask you this. The Kansas City Chiefs had 95 yards worth of defensive penalties in the first half. Now, the way the game winds up, it's kind of hard to say the officiating decided it, but there were certainly a lot of people complaining about it at the you think just in general about the impact that all of those penalties had on that defense last night?
I think they're huge. When Tony Romo talked about it a little bit last night, the percentage of the opportunity to score, what it is when you have 1 penalty or when you have 2 penalties. A lot of times that leads to touchdowns or field goal attempts by the opposing offenses. And we saw that last night, but it was also the times and when they were called. Think about the pass interference on Ward or the illegal contact on Ward. That's an interception by Tyrann Mathieu, and then late in the second quarter you get the call on Brashard Breeland, and then it's followed by a call on Tyrann Mathieu on the ball that looked uncatchable. And so when you have these sort of things happen, and Tampa Bay already has it rolling, and now those things lead to points, it turns into an time for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, it felt like that was a huge storyline at halftime last night. And then the way the game ends up, when Kansas City doesn't score a touchdown, it's hard to say that the defensive penalties are the reason that they lost, but they certainly didn't help. Okay, we are basically wall-to-wall Super Bowl this morning, but Shefty has got the huge news, so we need to get into this. It is a story we've talked about throughout this offseason, basically since Carson Wentz got benched, in fact. Perhaps we're getting closer to the solution. What is the future for Wentz? Shefty reporting over the weekend, there's a growing expectation that Wentz will be traded sooner rather than later. Now let's get specifically to that. Adam Schefter with us all morning long here. Shefty, what can you tell us about the situation with Carson Wentz right now?
It looks like he's going to be traded here, Greeny, relatively soon. It depends on where the Eagles want to send him, what they are going to get back, but they've already gotten enough interest to make it seem right now like it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be traded. And I think that once Matthew Stafford got traded to Los Angeles, I think that started the clock on Carson Wentz. And we saw Jared Goff involved in the Matthew Stafford. Carson Wentz was picked 1 pick after Jared Goff in the same draft. And so we could see the number 1 and number 2 picks from the same draft traded days apart ultimately. And I think Philadelphia, this is affirmation that basically didn't fire Doug Peterson strictly because of what he did with Carson Wentz or didn't do. They didn't hire Nick Sirianni, the new head coach, to fix Carson Wentz. They hired Nick Sirianni because they felt he was the best man to lead this team forward and help the quarterback, whoever that was, in this offense. But Carson Wentz talks have been heating up. They've been going on. There's enough interest from teams like the Bears, the Colts, others that have weighed in to make you think he's going to get traded here. And the question is, when do the Eagles finally make that decision, and what do they get back in return?
We're not talking about March, and the new league year. You're talking sooner than that.
For what I was told off. So I know people hear the 2 1s, but those are 2 future ones. So they're not considered the value of a first-round pick this year, but they're still 2 1s in the future. And the Eagles are looking to get as much compensation back for a player that they traded up to go get, that they re-signed to a big contract. There'll be a big dead salary cap charge against their cap. But the Eagles have been planning for this. They're prepared for it, and they feel like they can do that moving forward.
Okay, and so Dan, I see the look on your face, and for those who watch our show, Dan has always believed in Carson Wentz, and that's cool. And I know that you still think he has a chance to recapture some of the magic. So tell me the place you want to see him. Where would you like to see Carson Wentz wind up that you believe would give him the best chance to become the player you think he can be?
The Indianapolis Colts. Far and away the best situation for both the team and Carson Wentz. You're talking about a team that, one, has a head coach and play caller that completely understands that position, both in the moment and the development of that position, how to get the best out of it on a consistent basis. A place that's got a very healthy offensive line situation, a place that's got really good pieces around the offensive line, skill player-wise, T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman Jr., 2 good tight ends, young tailback, a really good defense. So it's Indy. But I'd say this, Greeny. Dude, 3 years ago, this place in Philadelphia won a Super Bowl. Both of the quarterbacks involved in it and the head coach are gone. That is mind-boggling to me.
It is. It's crazy how fast life can come at you sometimes in football. But RC, let's get a quick thought from you on this if I can. Now it appears they're going to trade him. What do you think of it, and what do you think some team is getting?
You know what? I think this is a good trade for Carson Wentz more than anything. Listen, I held out on going away from Carson Wentz for a long time because I saw the talent. I also remember what he looked like in 2017 when I thought he was the best player in football. And so if you can get Carson Wentz back to that, if you can get his confidence up, then you may get a player that looks similar to the Carson Wentz we once knew. And I agree with Dan. That's why Indianapolis is the best place, because it's a place that he doesn't have to play hero ball. It's a place that just had a quarterback that they had to protect, and they understand that. And so if you get Carson Wentz with that talent level, with those type of measurables, with that type of talent on the outside in a running game, I think you can get a player that can lead you to a championship.
I have to break on that thought, Dan, but we will come back with more. But I have so much here. And again, Shefty, working the phone. You never know when this thing might wind up breaking on us. But we will take a short break. Back to the Super Bowl next. The peace sign is usually given to calm things down. So why did one from last night get RC so fired up? He'll explain next.